Good morning, grade 5s. This is Mr. Ati again. Today we are going to look at metals and non-metals. In this chapter, we will learn about metals and non-metals. Do you remember learning about materials in grade 4? Metals and non-metals are two different classes of materials. Each class has its own unique properties. Properties are the things that are special or unique about an object or a material. We can use the properties of a material to describe what it is like. For example, we could say that a property of a gas is that it can be compressed. When we want to make a new product, a building or a tool or any kind of object, we first have to decide what the purpose of that product will be. Perhaps we want to make a tool for digging in the garden, or a kennel, that's a house dog, for your new puppy. The purpose of the product will help us to decide which would be the best material with which to make the object. The first activity will be to choose a material to build a house. When we choose a material for a certain purpose, we look for a material with the right properties for the job. Look at the two pictures of houses below. Can you see that house A and house B are made of different materials? Now go and answer the questions that follow. What material was used to build house A? What material was used to build house B? If you had to build a house next to the ocean, which one would you choose, house A or house B? Name at least 3 other materials that could be used for building a house. What are the properties of metals? Let's look at the properties of metals first. A property is a word used to describe a material or object and tells us something about it. Metals are usually shiny. The shine that we see when light reflects off the surface of a metal is called the luster of the metal. Most metals are hard and they feel heavy. We say metals are dense as the particles are packed close together. Metals conduct electricity and heat well. You will learn more about electricity next term. In grade 6, you will learn about metals as conductors of electricity. Metals are malleable. They can be shaped into flat sheets, and they are ductile. This means they can be made into thin wire. Most metals can be heated to high temperatures without melting or changing their shape, which is one of the reasons why pots and pans are made of metal. Can you think of any other reason why pots and pans are made of metal? Metals are mined from the earth. You will learn more about this in another subject, social science. Non-metals are materials that do not have the same properties as metals. Non-metals are not shiny, but tend to be dull. Many non-metals are not bendy. That means they're not flexible, but they are brittle. This means they will break when we try to bend them with enough force. Non-metals do not conduct electricity or heat well. We call them insulators. Can you think of any reason why pots and pans often have plastic or wooden handles? Now we're going to compare metals and non-metals. Now we have learned about the properties of metals and non-metals. Now we are ready to compare the properties of metals and non-metals. Read through the two lists below. Do you agree with the properties that have been listed? Are there any properties that you would like to add? List 1. Metals are mostly solid and strong, malleable and ductile. This means they can be hammered and bent into different shapes. They are shiny or silvery, lustrous, especially when they are new and cold to touch. The second list is non-metals. Non-metals can be soft or flexible like rubber. It can be hard and brittle like glass. Do not have a silvery, lustrous appearance, but tend to be dull. Can be grouped into different categories: ceramics, wood, rubber, plastic, glass, etc. And they usually feel neither cold nor hot. Here are a few key concepts. Every type of matter has its own set of properties. Shiny, brittle, malleable, dense are all examples of properties of materials. There are many more examples. Metals and non-metals have different properties. Materials are useful because of their properties. Metals are mined from the earth. What are the uses of metals? Metals have thousands of uses. We use metals every day, sometimes even without knowing. Metals are ductile and good conductors of electricity. This is why metal is used to make the wire inside electrical cables. Without electrical cables, we would not have electricity in our homes or schools. We would not have lights or television or telephones. Next time we would look more at electricity. Metals are extremely strong and can be turned into thin sheets. These sheets can be used to make the bodies of the cars, trucks and trains and aeroplanes that are used to transport people and goods from one place to another. The properties of metals make them suitable materials for many different objects. We will soon investigate some special properties of metals that we have not yet talked about. Metals and magnets. Have you ever played with magnets? Did you notice how magnets attract other magnets and also certain metal objects? Magnetism is a very interesting property, and playing with magnets and materials is fun. Were all metals that you tested attracted to the magnet? In the next activity, we are going to test the magnetic properties of different metals. Not all metals are magnetic. We've seen how metals can be sorted according to their magnetic properties. We will now investigate another special property of metals. But first the question: how do we cook food on the stove? We put the food inside a metal pot and then we heat the outside of the pot. This makes the food cook on the inside. How does the heat get inside the pot? See if you can figure the answer to this question or ask a grown-up at home. Metals and corrosion. Have you ever noticed how some metal objects are shiny when they are new, but over time the shine disappears and they become dull and blotchy? The car in the picture was once shiny and new, but look at it now. It is covered in rust from standing out in the rain for so long. Rust has a reddish brown color and a rough texture. Rust is very common. It is the product that forms when iron corrodes. During corrosion, iron reacts with oxygen in the air or in water to form iron oxide. That is the chemical name for rust. Rust is a type of corrosion, but it is not the only type. Other types of corrosion include tarnish, found on silver teapots, trays, trophies, and jewelry. Patina, the green coating that we sometimes see on copper objects. Black spots that appears on brass, aluminium oxide, grey-white coating that forms on aluminium. On these pictures you can see how the old cutlery is dull and tarnished, and you can also see the green coating forming on the copper statue. Rust. We have seen that iron rust. Other metals also change when they are not protected. Have you noticed what coins look like when they are new? New coins are bright and shiny. Old coins are dull and they look dirty. That is because they have a dark layer of tarnish on them. What are the uses of metal? They have thousands of uses. We use metals every day, sometimes even without knowing. Metals are ductile and good conductors of electricity. This is why metal is used to make the wire inside electrical cables. Without electrical cables, we would not have electricity in our homes or schools. We would not have lights or television or telephones. Now next time we will look more at electricity. Metals are extremely strong and can be turned into thin sheets. These sheets can be used to make the bodies of cars, trucks, trains, and aeroplanes that are used to transport people and goods from one place to another. The strength and durability of metals make them very important as building materials, not only in visible ways such as metal roofs and window frames, but also in invisible ways such as metal support inside the concrete that bridges and tall buildings are made of. Even furniture is sometimes made of metal. Here are a few key concepts. Metals have some special properties. Metals can conduct heat and some metals are magnetic. Metals have many uses. When we choose a material for a certain purpose, we look for a material with the right properties for the job. Well done. You have completed part 1 of metals and non-metals. Remember that you can phone the school should you have any questions, and I will come back to you. Keep well, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.